Today I want to talk to you about what it is to be a photographic artist. We all want to learn how to take great pictures and learn lots of new and different techniques and talk about camera gear, etc, etc. But first I think we need to dismiss some of the preconceived ideas of being an artist. We are human beings and we function in a world that's not all that friendly, to be honest. And we have to cope with people telling us our images aren't all that good, with rejection and criticism. And we all need to learn how to survive in this world and stand up and believe in our own creative vision. We are unique and we need to look at what makes us that way and what makes us stand out from the others. We need to find our own voice, to be honest. The world we live in today is a dog-eat-dog environment, and as an artist the level of rejection moves to a whole new level. The most important thing we should never forget is that we are all human, as we said, and we all suffer from the same things. We all want to be successful photographers, take fabulous photographs and make a living from being creative. And that's the mindset many of us start off with. There are many more aspects to being successful though than just taking great pictures. That's just one of them. The one question you have to ask yourself is, where do you want to end up and what is your end goal? What does success spell out for you and what is the end result? Another question is what is it that keeps people from being successful? Why are some people successful and others fail? Is it education, talent, or do they have better equipment? Is it religion or race or even gender? The one thing you need to believe in is you. If you have a dream to be successful, be a successful artist, then you and you alone are capable of achieving that. Only you can do that. Discovering and accepting who you are and what are your own strengths and weaknesses is the first step. Once you know what these are, you can learn how to use them and adapt them and improve them. But overcoming and understanding them is the first step, and a very important step. Learning the basics first and walking before you can run will always stand you in good stead. The photographic processes we learn early on will have a very dramatic effect on the outcome of our work. When I started shooting film and processing black and white images in the darkroom, this became my norm and gave me a really good and basic understanding, and now plays a really significant part in the images that I produce. A very high percentage of photographic learning is technical. We have to understand the basics of photography and how to create an image, but we have to understand and ask which is the most important, the technical side or the technical process or the creative process. It's a question we need to look at quite deeply. You can work out for yourself the percentage balance you want in your work. Some photographers are obsessed with equipment and the latest cameras, lenses, flash units, all this sort of thing, and this can be very overwhelming to a more creative based photographer who's more about narrative, colour, composition, etc. And the skill is for the technical photographer to learn to become a more creative photographer, and the creative photographer to learn to become a more technical photographer. Whichever side of the fence you sit on, you need to learn to be more on the other. One thing that we all have in us is the desire to create, the desire to be creative. Do not be limited by technical restraints and equipment and techniques. Don't ever let any of that stop you being creative. You are an artist with a set of tools. Cameras and editing programs are your tools. Think like an artist and use them. Why would you not use them? Start by building your creative process. A solid foundation is a great way to start. And a photograph these days is now more of an illusion than a reality. At best, it's probably reality as an illusion. Getting a camera to capture reality at 100% is impossible. They can get very close, but not 100%. This is why it's important, because as an artist, and you decide to be creative, your images will be an expression of your creative vision. You can decide how much reality you want to include and how much of an illusionist you want to be. And you can draw people into your world of make-believe, for want of a better way to describe it. The reason for this statement is because we can't truly capture reality with photography. Embrace the role of being an artist with the power to create and make an emotional connection with your viewer. And the moment you start with a concept of an idea to the moment you hang a photograph on the wall, you have to make a series of creative choices. And these choices are yours and the ones only you can make. The word artist, how do we define it? As a creative person, you have a uniqueness about you. From the moment you were born, you've shaped yourself into who the person is today, who you are today, and all of your experiences in life have added to this. As a creative person, you have a desire to get this out and to hang it on the wall, basically. And if you have a passion to create, by definition, you're an artist. An artist is not defined either by the final product or how well that product is received, but by the passion to create. This defines you again as an artist. Art is not just for the selected few either. Not everybody will like your work, and you have to accept this, but you are still the person creating it. An artist should be allowed to explore without boundaries, and you might wonder, why then do we place boundaries around artists? You and your vision will be your brand, and it's why painters and photographers are recognisable. The moment you let go of the perception you are a photographer and class yourself as an artist, you will be able to get your creativity go to a whole new level. People will hire you because you are you. People will buy your work because it's by you. People will not want work that looks like yours. They'll want the real thing. And that's because that is your art. It's your art. You have something to offer that is one of a kind. There may be many clones of you, but there will only ever be one you. Many famous photographers were successful because they stuck to one thing. They had a unique talent and became a master of it. Stand out from the crowd, copy, and you'll just blend into the masses. The creative process you have has everything to do with your feelings and emotions, intuitive approach. Don't ever worry about this, as your intuition will never lead you astray. Your intuition is you. It will make all the creative choices you have to make, and this process is your creativity. Your camera will never make a creative decision. The mind makes all the creative decisions. If you want to do it, do it. Don't listen to what others think. Make an evaluation of what you, the artist, likes, and if you don't like it, change it. If you are taking a portrait shot, and when it comes to setting up the lighting, how do you know how to set up the lights? How do you know if you've got it right? When you make a creative decision like this and set them up, it's your intuition telling you. This uniqueness can be a scary place though, as it opens you up to all sorts of criticism. And this is where it can get hard. This is what people want to avoid, you see. Rejection, being told it's wrong. What were you thinking? You have to understand there will always be a group of people that will criticise you. Everything you do, to be honest. There'll be a group of people that love what you do, and there'll also be a group of people who don't care what you do. You can't please everybody, so don't even try. Trust yourself and don't let it interfere with your creative process. As an example, the correct exposure can only be determined by you. Yes, it can be measured with a light meter and using the histogram, but the real correct exposure has to be the decision of yourself, the artist. And this is where the previous statement comes in about the technical side and the creative side of photography. If you blow out your highlights, yes, the image can be flawed. Creatively, can't even say that, it could be exactly what you wanted it to be. Once you know the rules, you can go and break them. You have a creative voice and it's yours to use, so where do you make a start, you may ask? You may try lots of different genres to photograph at first. There's lots of different genres in photography to try, and most of us do. You try them all. You can't be a landscape photographer if you don't like getting up in the morning, and you can't be a portrait photographer if you don't like people. It's not going to happen. What you need to do is decide what it is that you love to photograph. The reason you need to make this choice is that you are going to have to put a tremendous amount of time and effort into learning this. You are going to spend hours and hours practicing, learning, reading. You almost need to research all the current tools and techniques and things people are using and doing now, and take all this that you've learned and experiment with it. This will make you current and not look dated. Then you need to learn to add something else to it, something new, someone else isn't doing, something that no one has tried. And this will also force you to look and try harder. This will not be easy, this will not be easy, as the artistic photography world is always moving forward, and it moves forward very fast. You also need to be working to the highest standards, and don't ever settle for being average. Always push yourself that bit harder and get yourself to the first class level. Working on a series is a great way to build a body of work. This is also a great way to say this is who I am and this is my vision. It's not just a question of shooting 10 or 20 images to learn the technique. This is about shooting hundreds of images. You need to be the name that is stamped on that style and look, the name that people mention when they see it. Doing this will also make you very proficient in that style. You'll know it inside out, and it will become second nature to you, and this will become your brand. This look will be you, and you are your brand. When you create a signature brand in photography, it's very much like some of the brands that we are familiar with in our daily lives, the things we see around our houses. They're instantly recognisable by the look of the packet and the shape of the bottle. A brand is a link between two identities, the product and the name. Photography is just the same, the link between the look of an image and the name. When someone says they've seen your work and they can tell it's yours before they see the name on it, that's your brand. There are many more followers than leaders in the photography world, and being a leader is hard, but it's a very exciting place to be. Discovering who I was as a photographer and not who I had to be as a photographer was the most enlightening moment in my photographic career, and it's made me the photographer that I am today. And once you discover that and have that point in your photographic career, photography becomes so much more of a pleasure. It really does. I hope this video has been of some use to you, and if you'd like to see more, then you can subscribe to gavinpress.com on the internet, and that will give you first choice of the next few videos that I'll be making, and access to a lot of very private tutorials and things like that. Not private videos in the way of private videos, but private videos that other people can't get at on YouTube, because they are just for my subscribers. Hope you enjoyed this. Catch you soon. Bye bye.